Hey, and welcome back to the Fully Booked Photographer podcast. And we're excited to be all back again with you. And this week we're going to talk about the relationship between marketing and sales, but just from slightly different angles than we've talked about before. And one of the things that absolutely gobsmacks most of our new Fully Booked Photographer members is how to earn a conversation with the best images to stop the scroll on Facebook. So we thought we would just share some stories around that, because many of you who are photographers, many of you are artists, many of you probably win print competitions, many of you have mastered the 12 elements of taking a photograph, and you realize you don't need any of that to sell. Not to sell, but to do your marketing on Facebook. It might be a little bit of a surprise to you.
Hold on, Ronan. Hold on. The images that do the best on Facebook are the ones that you've entered in print competition and they've won the highest award.
That's the one we're going to talk about, Jonathan.
Only joking, sorry. I couldn't resist.
Alrighty. So let's just talk to the principles of this, and let's just walk through, right, paid Facebook advertising. Because we've talked before on this podcast about, you have to have a proactive marketing system to generate enough leads, to earn enough conversations with your marketing, to convert those that you are right for them and they are right for you into an actual quality booking, which is your sales process. But let's just talk about how do we grab the attention, right, with our proactive marketing Facebook advertising. And Brad, when we think about this, and if we just imagine ourselves on Facebook, right, we're on our phone, right, we're on our mobile phone and we're scrolling. So am I correct, because I am not a Facebook expert, Brad, but am I correct in saying that the first job we have to do, right, is to stop somebody scrolling on their phone?
I disagree with you, Ron. I think by now you are an expert on Facebook. You've spent that much time around myself and Jonathan that surely it's rubbed off on you by now. Like, you know the answer to the question. But yes, the most important thing is being able to stop the scroll. Thank you for teaming me up for that. But that's marketing 101, isn't it? It doesn't matter if it's Facebook. It's any form of print marketing, billboard marketing, TV ads, whatever it is. It's all there to grab attention. In Facebook, it's just stopping the scroll, because that's what your audience is doing. They're scrolling through Facebook, procrastinating on whatever it is they're wanting to do, even sleep. And as they're scrolling through their phone, that's what the job of your ad is. It is to stop their scroll. It's to grab their attention and steal it just for a few brief seconds. And hopefully they're going to read your ad copy.
And Jonathan, before we talk about the images that can do that, right, that can stop the scroll, and you're going to talk just a little bit about the science of pattern interrupt. But before we do that, I just want to talk to Jeanine. Jeanine, because you're a photographer, you run a successful business, you've been through your marketing, and it can be difficult sometimes to separate, your expertise as an image maker, right, from what might work in your marketing, to separate that into different compartments of your brain. How did you find that difficult?
I actually did find it difficult in the beginning. When I first started working with Jonathan, God, it feels like forever ago now, but yeah, yesterday. So when we first started trying to find images all those years ago for first birthday ads, we were trying to find images that were happy baby smashing cake, playing with balloons, things like that. And I was just looking for images that sold to parents. I was looking for images that I would hang up in the studio. I was looking for images that I would put on a website gallery, and trying to find, 2 or 3 images that I thought would best represent what we offer in the studio. And that's what I did in the beginning.
So, Jonathan, before we go back to Jeanine and talk about that, right, and that requirement to frame this into different compartments in our brain, just talk to us a little bit about the science of pattern interrupt. Like, what is pattern interrupt? Sounds like graffiti or something.
Sure. So, I mean, the science of pattern interrupt. I guess to describe what a pattern interrupt is, it's something that's unusual or out of the ordinary that basically captures attention. So if you are in a room with 1,000 people and those 1,000 people all have blonde hair and they're all wearing a blue t-shirt and cream chinos and black shoes, and then someone walks in with black hair in a red polo in black chinos and pink shoes, that person's going to stand out. It's going to interrupt that pattern. So if you're on Facebook and you're scrolling, and most of the things you see on Facebook are like, posts by friends or family or ads from companies or videos or, selfies or whatever it is. So if you want to stop someone's scroll, you need to interrupt that pattern of scrolling. And the best way to do that is to use an image where that's not usual on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever platform you're on. Because what it does is it subconsciously in their brain goes, holy, what the hell was that? And they're kind of like, oh, it makes them stop. So that's the sole goal of your image, or your media, as we call it on Facebook, is to interrupt the usual pattern that they have of scrolling and to get them to stop. That's the first step in any successful Facebook ad, is to get someone to stop. And once they stop, they'll typically read your headline of your ad. And if that interests them and is intriguing, they will read your ad copy.
Right. Well, we'll get to the ad copy because we weren't just talking about pattern interrupt. So we'll get to that in a second. But Brad, surely, like, if I'm an award-winning photographer and I've mastered the 12 elements and I'm taking photographs that are, merit quality, surely, like, that's going to stand out from all the other, can I say, crap that other people take with their mobile phones who don't know what they're doing, right? So is that not a pattern interrupt?
Oh, wow. Well, what a wonderful question. Well, a lot to unpack there, Ronan. I hate being a consultant. Maybe. Depending on what you photograph, what genre you photograph, how you photograph it. I have no idea until I look at the photograph. But if you want an answer right now, I'd say no. I'd say normal photographic work that you're going to show, that you're going to put into competitions, or even photographic work that you're going to do for clients, and then use that to run as ads, I would say isn't a pattern interrupt. You want something slightly more out there in order to stop the scroll. The more outrageous, the better.
So, Jeanine, we've seen a lot of our members, and it knocks them over, right? That when we suggest this, we talk about this, and they come up with their sample images that they want to run as the images within their Facebook ads, and we say, no, do this instead. Or if you do want to do that, but test it against what we're suggesting here to try, right? Which we'll talk about in a moment. Why do you think, Jeanine, it just is so hard for them to make that leap? Because you can see they don't want to do it, right? We're nearly dragging them, right, by the legs and pulling them and putting them into the seat and saying, no, you are going to do this. At least test what we're showing you is going to work against what you want to do.
Right. And well, it's because they're photographers. And up until now, their photography has been what sold their business. And the promoting of their best images in organic posts or on their website or in print advertising. That's been what's drawn people to the studio. And what got me out of that mindset, actually, it was, I remember it. I just don't remember when. And it was after a conversation Jonathan and I had, and we were trying to find the right images to test with. And I went on a drive from here up to Atlanta. And I was driving along the highway, and I know you guys don't do this there. You don't have like 8-hour drives that you do. You'd end up in another country. Or for you, you're on an island. But, you know, it's very common here to drive for long distances on a highway. And you're driving along the highway, and there's billboards everywhere. And it's just, they're just scrolling by. And it's very similar. And it hit me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like Facebook. I'm just scrolling down I'm driving down the highway. What's going to grab my attention? What billboards would actually stop me and look for a second and be like, huh, right? As opposed to just driving by and not paying attention. And so have you guys ever eaten at a Chick-fil-A when you've been over in the States? Okay. Well, their billboards aren't chicken sandwiches, which is what they sell. They're giant cows, and they're giant cows leaping out of the billboard saying, eat more chicken. Right? And so they're not advertising chicken sandwiches. They're advertising cows saying, eat more chicken. And they're giant black and white cows, and they're usually 3-dimensional, and they're leaning out of billboards and stuff like that. And they grab your attention. You stop and you see the giant Chick-fil-A cows. And so it kind of, I'm like, well, Chick-fil-A doesn't show pictures of chicken sandwiches. They're showing cows, and they're cows doing silly things selling Chick-fil-A. And that's when it was my light bulb moment that I didn't have to show a happy baby smashing a cake or even a crying baby, that's where my mind was going. I'm like, ooh, I got to do the opposite. I'll show a crying baby, you know? And so that's when it kind of really hit me that I just need to do what people have been doing. Just think of Facebook as a highway and people driving down the road, and what would get their attention on a billboard. Does that make any sense?
That's a great analogy, Jeanine. And you know, just to share a funny story about Chick-fil-A. So they're not on this side of the Atlantic, right? So we don't really know them here. And I was at Sync one year, and I'm sitting in the audience, and they have, on the Friday evening, Darty and Michelle have this guest speaker, right? And he was a former marketing director of Chick-fil-A, you see? So he's on anyway, and he's telling the story about his job in Chick-fil-A, and that they'd gone to the Super Bowl or something like that, and they dropped a whole load of baby cows, right? Like little toy cows, right? From the air, 60,000 of these or whatever landed.
They were toy, not baby cows. They did not drop live animals into the stadium.
No, little toy teddy bear in the shape of a cow. So I'm listening to this anyway, and I'm going, why does a company that sells chicken sandwiches, why are they dropping cows? Why not chickens, you see? But I wasn't brave enough when it got to the Q&A, I wasn't brave enough to put my hand up and ask the question. So we roll on anyway to the Monday morning, and Michael and Malaya, we met them. We were having a chat, you see, and we used to meet them on the last morning every morning, and we have breakfast together. And we're in the Broken Egg, and we're having breakfast, you see. So I turned and said, Michael, this has been annoying me all weekend, right? I just didn't get it. Why did they drop cows into the Super Bowl, 60,000 toy cows instead of chickens? Surely they sell chickens. Why was it not chickens? Well, he nearly choked on his breakfast, fell off his stool. But I know you had to be there at the time. It was really funny at the time. Anyway, we laughed for about 20 minutes. And every time I meet him, he reminds me of my Chick-fil-A story. But you're right. That's marketing at its best, isn't it? That the last thing you're expecting from a chicken sandwich company is to see cows, right? So it is pattern interrupt. So back to the science of pattern interrupt then, Jonathan, because, as photographers, we're visual people. So we should get the idea that if something stands out, that it will catch our attention. But it's hard then just to understand that, you don't have to have any photography in your advertising, right, to earn the conversation, to sell photography. And in fact, only last night on our inner hive, we had somebody who was very reluctant to do this. In fact, they're in our hive for 2.5 years and only recently tested what we're going to talk about in a second, the pattern interrupt as we recommend testing against an image. and it outperformed. Was it 7-1 or 9-1? Can anyone remember the exact number? Anyway, it was a multiple. It was 700 to 900% better return. So, Jonathan, are you going to reveal to everybody what a pattern interrupt might look like?
Yeah, and it's why I was talking about, the different stages of it earlier before we diverted, because you have to understand the purpose and the reason why, and the function of it all. And your image that you use on Facebook has one function, that's to stop the scroll. That's its main job. Its only real job is to stop the scroll. So that's why I wanted to, before I revealed it, I needed to give some context, because the image stops the scroll. You hope they read the headline, and then the headline gets them to read the ad copy and the offer. So that's how it works. So a lot of our members are shell-shocked when, for their Facebook images, the ones that get them the most leads, which is ultimately the goal of your Facebook ad, is to generate some qualified leads, is to use an image that's not even a photograph. So let me give you some background context to this. So pattern interrupt is something I've been familiar with for maybe 5 years now. And I noticed a lot of online advertisers using a box as their image. A simple box, colored box, we call it the yellow box, with some text on it. And I said, God, we must test that. So I came to Brad and Jeanine, they thought I was mad at the time. I said, I have this crazy idea. I've seen this yellow box with text on it. I think you should test it for your studios. So all it is a yellow box with the offer, with a call out and with an offer. So typically it's a yellow box. The top will say, hey Tampa moms, with some love hearts around it. The next bit will say, register to win a family portrait experience worth $650. And that might be it. There might be a third line that says, click the learn more button below to register today, something like that. And since the yellow box has come out, our members have been not only getting great results with it, but have been testing it and pushing the boundaries of it. So I know some members are testing orange boxes. Some are testing for their boudoir black boxes with red writing. For, because Barbie is such a big hit, a lot of members are doing pink or pink portrait sessions, and they're using a hot pink box for their ad. So the reason why it works so well is because it's such a strong pattern interrupt. All it's doing is stopping the scroll. So they're stopping, you have your box up, stops the scroll, they read the headline that says, empowering boudoir experiences, or win a family portrait experience, or, think pink portrait sessions. And they're like, oh, that's interesting. And then they start reading the ad copy. And the goal from that is, with your ad copy, is to get them to self-identify and say, yes, I have that problem. Yes, I think your solution can help me solve that problem. And yes, I'm interested in your offer. I'm going to give you my details. That's the function of a Facebook ad.
And Brad, this is something we talk about a lot, right? In that not only are we sometimes attached to the images we create as photographers, right? But that sometimes then we try and sell with our marketing, and we don't understand the concept or the roles of our marketing. And even within our marketing, as Jonathan has just explained, and you've explained, and Jeanine has explained, that you have to break your marketing down into steps as well. You got to understand the goal of the step. So, because I'm sure some photographers are saying, okay, I get that, but surely if they don't see my amazing images that I can create for them in the marketing, they're not going to spend any money on photography with me. Can you just talk to us a little bit about, the need to understand the difference between your marketing and your sales? And there's really no real correlation between the two because the goals are different.
Yeah, you've answered your question there, Ronan. There's zero correlation between sales and marketing. Your marketing's all about earning a conversation. The minute you've earned that conversation through whatever medium you're using, be that a Facebook ad or old letter campaigns or whatever it is, the minute you've earned that conversation, your marketing has ended, and then your sales process begins. In our world, because we sell photography, and we're creatives, we think we have to use that as the media for our ads because we think that's what we are selling. If you listen to the last podcast, you'll know that we're not selling photography. So because we're not selling photography, showcasing photography is not going to help anybody make the decision of this is someone I should have a conversation with, and then I should also buy that style that I like. The amount of times I've seen photographers in especially in wedding portrait groups arguing with their clients because they showed them the style of photographs they were going to take, but now the clients aren't happy with it or wanted an extra shot, but that's not the style that I photograph. Like, your clients do not understand anything like that. They do not see it. They do not know the difference between any different types of style of photography or any types or the quality of the photographer that's taking those pictures. They only see what's in it for them. They only see the people that's in those photographs. They only see what it means to them. So if you want to display, if you think you're going to get clients by being an amazing photographer, it's just not going to work. And if anything, Yellow Box is the nail in that coffin.
I want to come in there because, Brad, first of all, isn't it amazing how whenever Ronan asks a question, he answers it for you? Like, he does that so many times, like nearly every time. Just like, okay, let me ask this person a question and I'm going to give them the answer while I'm asking the question. Amazing.
He does it with me more than anybody else because he's scared of my answers. He's telling me what answer that he wants me to say. He wants me to be in line with him.
It's just so funny.
It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm going to have to ask Brad a question now. Okay, so if I tee him up and then answer the question after I've told him it, hopefully he'll say something in line with what I wanted to say.
You gotta laugh. But Brad, you made a point there, right, about, because I've been doing a lot of thinking about this with our members and stuff recently, and like, a lot of people talk about, they want qualified leads, right? And they want qualified leads, and I think a lot of photographers who maybe have tried to generate leads on Facebook and then blame them as poor quality don't understand like the different functions of their business systems. Because as we know, we have members running all genres of photography, most genres of photography on Facebook, like studio photography, families, boudoir, pets, first birthdays, team sessions, who have 4-figure averages and some have gotten like 10K sales from their Facebook clients. So it's a really big thing I see in some photography groups out there saying, leads I get on Facebook, they're trash. And I think it's because they don't understand the function. So, when I was thinking about it, if I was to try and define a qualified lead from someone who doesn't fully understand Facebook or their business systems, I would say that most photographers would say something like, a qualified lead for me is someone who desires photography, who values my artwork and my photography, and who wants to invest in wall art folio boxes and albums with me. For most photographers that don't get it, that would be probably their definition of a qualified lead. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. They're lazy. They want a silver bullet. That's what they're waiting for or hoping for. That their version of a qualified lead is somebody who's going to buy with them then and there straight away. And there's no work involved for them in terms of communicating with that client, turning them into a great client, delivering them an experience, and then ultimately selling them their photographs at the end. And then all the little steps in between. That's not just photographers, that's everybody.
True.
We all want the shortcut. We all want the silver bullet. We all want life to be easy, and unfortunately it's not. So if you're going into it with the expectation that you're going to run an ad and you're going to get a whole load of people who are so desperate to spend with you, they're going to spend thousands and it's going to be easy. It's just not the case. You're going to generate a whole lot of leads that in my sense are qualified, because if they've filled the format, if they've seen an ad, it's stopped them, they've filled the format and they've entered some details about why now is the perfect time for them to have this experience, and they've filled that out with some limited form of intent, then that's a qualified lead. You're going to have the opportunity to speak to somebody who's interested in your services. That's a qualified lead.
And I want to see if the rest of the team agree with this, right? Jeanine as well and Ronan. So when I came up with that definition to try and understand what photographers think is a qualified lead, I tried to come up with a definition of what I think is a qualified lead. And this is new information because I haven't shared this with anybody. So the podcast listeners and you guys are the first to hear it. Isn't that amazing? So in my mind, if Facebook ads are, the goal of our Facebook ad is to generate a qualified lead. For me, a qualified lead is someone who has, stopped, read your ad copy, that is written to your ideal client's pain point. They've seen your offer and they put their hands up by filling out your lead form and giving you their information. And I think the reason why that person is a qualified lead is that they have self-identified. They self-identified as having the emotional problem that you've talked about in your ad copy. They're interested in the solution you've presented for solving that emotional problem. And they've gone to the effort of filling out your lead form with their contact details. For me, that's how I would define a qualified lead. What do you think, Jeanine?
I think it's an interesting definition, actually, Jonathan, because that's the goal of the ad. Our goal is to write to our ideal client. The ad copy is supposed to speak directly to that person. So for me, it's, Tampa moms, and I talk whatever the ad is about. I'm trying to seek out the mom whose child might be interested in something specific, or they're feeling a certain way, or they're celebrating a certain milestone, or, enjoying a specific holiday. And so if they read that and they are like, oh, that's me. I need to contact this photographer. I'm interested in this offer. That is ideal. That, now the rest of the specifics I know that we were going to get into is a little bit different. It's secondary. If they're in the location, if they have the ability to spend, if they, all those different types of things. But as far as emotions go and desire for what it is that we spoke about, then yes. Which is why I call everybody.
And I would agree with you, Jonathan, on it. I think it's a good definition, and that's probably something we need to be more clear about with people as to what the definition is. That a qualified lead is not somebody who, it's somebody who has that initial desire without having all the information yet. Right. In the same way as the photographer or the business, we don't have all the information about them either, And we see this all the time, in our businesses in 3XM, where people put up their hand and say, I want a sample 3XM folio box, right? And we don't know whether that person has a business who's got an average sale level where it makes sense for them economically to sell our folio box, because you can't sell the ultimate folio box and make money unless you have an average of 4 figures on the folio box sale. You just can't. It's the last product I would recommend that you put into your business. It can help you on that journey to there, but so that's part of that idea, is that we don't say to everybody who puts up their hand and says we'd like to talk about a folio box, we don't say to them, well, I'm only interested in qualified leads, so I'm only going to talk to people who demonstrate to me that they're already at a 4-figure average. That's because somebody who's not at a 4-figure average today may be in 6 months' time, so you're not going to discount anybody. So we all know from marketing that no matter how good our marketing is, that 50% of the leads we generate, we're just not going to be right for them anyway. There's going to be some reason why we're not right for them, and that's okay. That's acceptable. And even the 50% who are interested, there's only 20 to 25% of them who are ready to put their hands up, say, I want to do this today. But those other 25% will convert at some time in the future once you nurture them. So with the folio box example, the same thing is true, is that if we bring in a client or someone who's interested and they're not quite at the level where they can sell a folio box, we supply the materials to help them to get to that level, on how to price a folio box, how to sell a folio box. So the photographer has to have the same approach to their clients. if you think that you're going to market in any scenario, like even if you go, Jeanine, you've done charity auctions in the past, have you?
I have.
Not everybody at a charity auction, right, is an ideal client either. Correct?
Correct.
So the difference here is that you've people putting up their hands, right, who don't have to choose you today, right? They are choosing you, but they don't have to choose to spend with you today, right? So that's marketing. We have to understand the difference between our marketing and our sales process. That they're separate. They are connected, but they're separate. They're like a couple who are together, a married couple. They're together, but they are two completely separate, different entities. And I think that's the hardest challenge that our members have when they come in, Jonathan. Getting used to this idea that I can use a yellow box or a pink box or an orange box to stop the scroll to earn a conversation when I'm selling photography and it doesn't show my photography. They can't. People struggle to separate it out into its areas.
Because they haven't realized they're not selling photography yet.
Yeah, but that's part of it. But even if I was selling photography, right, the role of my marketing is to earn a conversation with a potential client. So it's if I don't stop the scroll, if I have the most amazing photography in the world and it doesn't stop the scroll, well, then I don't earn the conversation anyway. I have to earn the conversation first. It has to be the first pit stop.
Jeanine.
Yes?
I want to ask you a question about this.
Are you going to give me the answer when you ask it?
No, I'm not wrong.
Ah, darn.
Okay.
So much easier that way. Go ahead.
So, I don't know whether you're running, I think you're running like, for your Think Pink sessions, you were running like a really bright, vibrant image with lots of colors in it, which can stop the scroll, right? I don't think you were running the hot pink angle. But talk to me about the middle ground between like your marketing, which is generating leads and earning those conversations, and then your sales system and your experience is conversations. It's having those conversations to find out more about the lead and make sure they're a good fit and price qualify and help give them more information and to book them in. But talk to me about your Think Pink session. So you run an ad in Facebook, and I don't know the price of the offer, whether it's $75 or $45 for the session. I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. But we see like a lot of photographers trying to sell like packages up front on Facebook for like $500, $1,000, $2,000. And it's just like, no, you're confusing your systems. So talk to me about that. Just talk to me about that journey, that client journey through your system. So you put up your ad for your offer of, what is it, $45?
For most of my shorter theme sessions, it's $45.
$45, okay. And you generate leads.
Yes.
And you have conversations, and they come in for the experience, and you get them all super excited for the experience, and they have the amazing experience, and you create your amazing artwork from that, and then they invest with you. Like, just talk to me about that whole process. Like, because surely people that put up their hands and say they're interested in a portrait experience for $45 don't spend anything over a couple of $100 with you.
You're so funny, Jonathan. Okay, so the way the process works is, yes. So we have a vibrant image that we used, and luckily with hot pink, it kind of stops the scroll in and of itself. And so we used a hot pink image, and it's what everybody's paying attention to right now because of the interest with the movie and things like that. So they stopped. We had people fill out the form. We called them, and we, first just kind of, how old's your daughter? How old's your son? Because we didn't assume it was a girl. How old are your kids? Do they love the Barbie movie? Have you seen the Barbie movie? Did you grow up playing with Barbies? And, we talked a lot with them about what connected them to filling out that form. Was it because they were excited about the movie? Was it because they always played with Barbies growing up? Was it because that their daughter loved playing with Barbies, that their son loved playing, whatever the case may be? Or if it's a mom and she's like, I'm going to make my son do it just because I like it. You know what I mean? So, we were getting all of those emotions from the mom talking about that, what connected her. And there was always some sort of connection. It was never, I just thought it looked cool. There was always a reason why they clicked on it when they saw it. And then we took that and explained to them what we were offering. And it's like, okay, now let me explain to you what we're doing. So we are offering these experiences in our studio for you and your child to come in and celebrate your love of everything pink, right? And so we have different sets. You can play dress up. You can change outfits. And the different offerings we have, you can do bathing suit from the pool. Like we were going through the whole thing and just with high energy, talking about the fun their child was going to have and them experiencing this with their child getting to be a real life Barbie. What does Barbie want? Barbie can be anything. So come have your daughter dress like what she wants to be when she grows up. Does she want to be a doctor? Does she want to be a lawyer? Does she, and so incorporating all these ideals that a Barbie girl can be whatever she wants to be. And so we were, doing a little bit of empowering for the little girls, and so once we talked about that, then we would get into the price. Right? That the $45 was for the session. We were doing a free gift with purchase because we were doing a movie ticket. So their session came with a gift for the child and then a movie ticket for the mom. And then we explained our process on that phone call. So once we got them all excited, we connected with them. Then we said, okay, well, let's chit chat a little bit about what we do after the session. We will book an appointment for you to come back because we couldn't do instant view with these. The one area of the studio is where the girls were changing. So we said, we'll book an appointment for you to come back. At that time, you'll view your images, choose the ones that you love and fall in love with that tell the story of your daughter being the Barbie that she wants to be and celebrating your love of all things pink, right? And we find that most of our clients, when we did this last time, spent on average between $500 to $800. And does that sound like something that you would be interested in? And they would either say, yes, oh my gosh, want to do it. Or, oh, the $45 doesn't come with all of my digital images. Yeah, I'm not interested. Right? We didn't get very many of those if they connected with us. If they connected with us on the experience and the excitement, and we felt that excitement, when we laid out that price, they were booking that session. If they were, oh, well, it looks like something fun to do over the summer. I'm trying to find something for my kids to do. You can tell, you can kind of feel that excitement level of them. And so then they came in, they experienced the session. We showed them the products when they were here at the end of the session. Like when you come back, here are the albums that we have to offer. Here's our 10 by 20 collage, which most of our families love. And we have packages that allow you to buy both, or you can buy just print images or just digital collections, this and this and that. Well, because we put those products in their hands at their session, we put the album in their hand, we showed them the collage, we photographed for them. So like our 10 by 20 collage that we did, we had to photograph a specific series of poses for them. And then same thing with the book. We had to photograph so many images on each of the backgrounds. When parents have been coming in, they've been buying both. I mean, it's like 95% have bought both the album and the collage because they couldn't say no. They loved the experience. Their girls had fun. They had fun. This, I know you boys probably haven't seen the movie, but it is a lot about mothers and daughters and their relationship as well, right? I cried when I saw the movie and then my daughter laughed at me for crying, but that's another story for another day. We can do a whole podcast on the mother-daughter relationship. But anyways, so that emotion, that tug at the heartstring for the moms, they want that memory with their daughter. And so they felt the album. They couldn't say no to any of the images and they bought both. So our average has been over $1,000. It's been right around $1,700. And on the price qualifier, we just said $500 to $800. And the whole goal of that was to let them know it wasn't $45 and that they could expect to spend some money.
And that's another whole conversation as to why.
I know we're at 40 minutes. Oh my gosh, look at us talking.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation as to why you don't tell your clients that, your clients spend $10,000 and frighten them away too early before they even see, or experience the experience. So Jeanine, just to summarize, so they put their hands up at £45, allowed you to have a conversation so those clients could see if you were right for them and they were right for you. And then the clients who did come in, your average is at $1,745 or something, I think you told us, for a Barbie themed session.
A Think
And of
Pink
course,
theme
you've had
session. We're not licensed by Barney.
Sorry. A Think Pink theme session. Thank you for correcting me. A Think Pink theme session. And you've had some sales. Obviously, not every sale has been 17.45, right? Some have been less, and some have been more. I think you said you had one sale at 2.9, right? So, but it's the average that matters, you know, in that. So, you know, guys, you know, hopefully today from this podcast, you've got a better understanding as to not just the separation between your marketing and your sales, you know, and the different systems in your business, but even within marketing, that each step of your marketing process has a unique goal to achieve something. So if you've enjoyed this podcast, if you want to learn more from this podcast, all you have to do is click on the button below and join our 30-day challenge, where we deep dive into many of these principles and help you get live with your first marketing funnel in the shortest possible time. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button too. So from all of us and from me, bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, guys.